morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Indigenous Prosperity Forum. Come on, let's hear it. How about those Spirit Wolf singers? Come on, let's hear it. Come on, let's go. Here we are. We're coming live from Kitigan-Zibi, Anishinaabe territory, everybody. Come on, let's thank the Anishinaabe for hosting us, the Algonquin Nation. We love it here. Since the beginning of time, the Anishinaabe Nation's been getting it done. So here we are. We got it's a big day. This is wonderful. We're going to do things right the way we've always done it when our people from across the country gather is we got to give thanks and do ceremony. So I'd like to call upon Kitigan-Zibi's own, the finest. Let's welcome Verna McGregor, everybody, our elder.
Oh, miigwech Stan. He's, you know, when I first met Stan was a couple of years ago, and he showed this video that he produced, and it was called the, what was it called? No, dance hall. And I was expecting our dance hall, like we're gonna, when you go to the hall, and for us, we, in addition to power, we have the square dances and stuff. So I said, that's what the dance hall. But then it opens with just a field with one tree in it. And I said, that doesn't look like a dance hall. And then he talks about staying there for 3 days, going back. And his uncles would do the same thing for generations. And then the grouse appeared. Then it started to do its dance. And it was a mating site for generations. And what I found so interesting about that is that we think that it was just a tree, a field with a tree in it. But really, this has been a mating site for generations for the grouse, and that's knowing the lands. And so I said that too as well. When you look at this economic development, I remember working at AFN and people come in and talk to me and they said, why don't you just economically develop? And I said, well, there's a different understanding and a different sensibility if you're Anishinaabe and understanding with the land. So, and I said, it's not just exploiting the land. There's also too as well, it's not just for human nations, it's also for the other nations, the ones that fly, the ones that crawl, the insect nations, the four-legged nations. And that's where there's a different understanding with this economic development. So, and I like it today, they have this two-eyed seeing understanding, and I said that it's the Anishinaabe, and sometimes it's the mainstream. So, and then this morning I was reading about this climate change, and the people were talking about, like how hot it is near the equator, but this was foretold by our nations too, that this would happen. So today we need to be smarter too as well in understanding this also economic development. So really quickly, kwe Verna, Indigenous cause, Kitigan-Zibi Ndojaban Walgash Nado Damashich Onim Kipanesi. I'm from Kitigan-Zibi, and really my background has been in economic development too as well. I studied economics in school, but I also worked then I went to work at Indian Northern Affairs, capital management, but then didn't stay there long back then. And I went into real estate, which was very strange coming from the reserve. Then I went into banking based on my real estate experience too with the mortgages and financing. But realizing we've been left out of this whole really concept of mainstream in terms of this development. And then I went on to work at this economic development at the Assembly of First Nations, then went on with this financing task force, which was also addressing access to capital. So here I am. I work today part-time with Minwashin Lodge, and we deal with violence against especially Indigenous women, Native women. And I honor today too as well. We had recently the Red Dress event on the 5th. And I know that I'm just going to say, before I say my little prayer here, is also to honor them too, because they just found 4 women. This person just confessed to basically going after the 4 women in this landfill. So, and what the elders would talk about too as well is that as we're healing this violence against women, against the life givers, the givers of life, what are we doing also for the men to heal them as abusers too? Because they said, as we heal the men too, maybe it also this leads to the healing of our biggest life giver, which is the earth. Shkaikikwe, we call her, and the biggest life giver. So again, too, I'd like to welcome you to our traditional unceded lands. And I said this yesterday, the significance of Ottawa for us, we're known as Omamaninuag, which is the Algonquin of the northeast of Turtle Island. And we're known also for the birch bark canoe because the topography here was very rocky. So we weren't very agrarian. We were more hunters. We still are hunters, gatherers. And we would meet here in the summer because of the confluence of the rivers and talk about what's going on the land. And so it's similar to the medicine wheel. And at the center, it was like I came here really fast this morning again from following the Gatineau River from Kitagon-Zibi. We call that Tanagidnong-Zibi. Then we had the Ottawa River, Kitchisibi, going from the west to the east. And then we have the Rideau River coming from the south, flowing north, which is kind of strange. And it meets at the center. And that's what we would do with the Chaudière Islands here. And I find it interesting today, and I say this often, that Parliament is located really at that confluence because it represents balance, represents the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 stages of your life. It also represents the 4 elements, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, because without them we wouldn't be here as humans and all life. So in that regard, I'm just going to say a little opening prayer, and yeah, maybe I'll ask you to stand, if you don't mind. And it's to honor all of you, and what I'm doing is I'm just going around the medicine, so I say, Miigwech, kagijen dan kakina, gijemane do. On generashki tocha ma on do se konche nongon mo me kakina pa ma tsjik in is wa konche da je odam ta watch ma me shonya kewen we do kwa kakina pa ma tsjik in is wa konche me gwe chonje kakina ga gijen da no je mam de gen in de kimenan shkaki question cause on in de kimenan we do kwa kakina on je nagdo abdan kakina guchin in de kimenan Migwachonje kakina ete kijigon kizis tibi kizis a shijanang shak. We do kwa yan nokamis non je nagado abdan kakina guchia nebi punksing CB Saigon kichigagam. Migwachonje ya ishkode kagimijen jimino abchtoyang. A shich we do kwa yan shomsen non kizis on je nagado abdan kakina pamatsajik a shich. We do kwa gikwewa gonje nagado abdan nebi a shijaninwa gonje nagado abdan ya ishkode. Migwachonje na sewen kagimijen chimino pamatsian. We do kwa kakina. Mam de geda jakas a jik, mam de gage ishquata, ya COVID-19 jinka de gashish kakina go jakas a win. We do kwa kakinan, ninjino and doganak nimishom sinan, nagok misnan, a shitchen dodin is oje non go monjin and dabano jishak. Kan shishquat negwede semen kego gajemane doshish kana nojkush negwede semen. We do kwa kakina, mam de gay, we wisna jig, the magas a jig, akus a jig, kayem non gom, da je we me god wa jig. We do question Mia miigwech, 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 ya miigwech. Miigwech is thank you in our language, so c'est merci en algonquin. And I say it 4 times to honor the 4 directions, your 4 seasons, your journey here. You come from spirit, you take your first breath, you start your earth walk here as an infant, toddler, adolescent, adult, young adult, and then it comes middle age, and then middle age, no, I'm kidding. And in preparation, return back to spirit, to our ancestors. I find that interesting too as well. As you go closer to spirit, you're closer to the whiter part. I said, your hair starts to turn white too. So I wish you a wonderful gathering and all the best. And I'll let my hero, Mr. Wesley, take over. I still he's supposed to give me the link to his video, and I think he should have an Academy Award, so everybody give him a big hand.
Let's hear it for the wonderful Brenna McGregor, everybody. Wow, that's so beautiful.
And your kids today.